What up? Welcome back to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And today, I'm taking the cam cover off to find some information out. As you probably read on the title, there's possibly a big board kit on my bike, which I didn't know. But turns out that I was getting horrible gas mileage, and I was really curious. So we plugged it in, and it turns out that it has a Stage 2 race tuner map on it. So I'm going to take the cam cover off, see if there's a different cam plate, different cams, and I'm really hoping that there's all that in there. I just need to optimize it, so we're going to take out the exhaust and then the cam cover, and then figure out what's all in there. So yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Got him with zip ties in his mouth. Oh, you doing LED light install?
Oh, yeah. So entertaining.
By the way, if the audio is not that great, I apologize. I forgot my microphone at home, so I was actually not planning on doing this today, but apparently I am, so let's get to it. Taking all the.
What do we got, Carl? What do we got? We got a big cam up in there. Stage 2.
I don't know. I'm about to find out.
Oh.
So bolts are already off, and gonna knock it out and
Hit that thing with a mallet.
that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Hit it with a mallet.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
He's grabbing the mallet. He's grabbing the mallet. We're gonna find out this is Stage 2, Carl edition. Here we go, boys and girls. We're about to break it open. Check her out. But then we gotta do that brake light switch.
That's true. Completely forgot about the brake light switch.
Carl's like, oh, nice. Nice. Ain't nothing but a little oil.
I think got a little oil going everywhere. Well, it's not a hydraulic cam plate as I was hoping.
Not hydraulic cam plate. Tensioners are looking a little worn.
Yep. That's also something that I did not want to replace. There's
We had this done on the old Dyna. Carl knows how to do that.
kinda.
Kinda.
This trip for his little trick to find out, looking through the cam without pulling the cam plate out.
Okay, here we go. Oh, trip stick on fire.
Trying to figure out now. See what kind of cam this thing has. They have a little trick.
If I have to look at that mirror. You're not stock.
Not stock.
Not stock. This is good.
I did not take a stock.
So take the spark plugs out, put it in 5th gear. Tom, this is some photography at its finest right here, or video therapy, as I call it. Carl removing the spark plugs. How are those looking, Carl?
Huh?
How are those spark plugs looking?
They look good, I think.
Not too bad, not too bad at all. So what are we going, 5th gear?
Can.
Come here, roll that wheel.
Yep. Oh,
no, Tom's showing us his pizza box. Working hard.
I can't make out what cam it is. It's a Screaming Eagle cam because I can see the SE. I just can't read the number. Yeah, Screaming Eagle cam. Well, the other thing to look at, what I looked at before to see that I knew that it wasn't a stock cam was on the front of the cam. A stock cam has 3 lines on it. It has an A or a B on it, along with a dot. So an A would be for a carbureted, a B would be for a fuel injected mic. The Screaming Eagle cams or aftermarket cams don't have that on there. There's no mark on the outside your timing mark. So that's how I knew it's not a stock cam. But looking back there, I can only see the SE. I can't read the number. There's too much more crap on it. If I had to guess, it's a 203, which is what the download said it was. Stage 2, 95.
Turns out I do have a stage 2 big bore kit. What the cam is, I have no idea. Probably 203.
203 possibly.
Not to put it back together.
Put it back together, then brake light switch time. We may do the brake light switch while we have this off.
Yep.
So that we can get to there with the exhaust still off. Good idea.
It's a trip. What are the advantages of buying a bike that actually is eligible for ESP?
Well, you should be the first candidate to tell everybody exactly why you should buy an ESP. Because right now that you have to buy a camshaft tensioner that you see that's in there, it would have cost you $50. That's it.
I'm definitely paying more than that now, which I mean that wasn't eligible for ESP anyways. I guess you can get an aftermarket ESP, but because I work here, I can probably get a decent discount on parts. And originally I wanted to get a hydraulic cam plate, but being that that's close to like $500, I'm just getting camshafts instead.
If you would have had ESP, you could have put the updated stuff in it because that's what they would rather us put the new stuff in it than the old stuff because it lasts longer, and they would have upgraded you for $50.
Unfortunately for me, I couldn't afford ESP anyways. But when I do, I will get an ESP. So now I'm going to change the camshaft tensioner. So this video just took a turn that I did not expect. So for your enjoyment, and I get to find out what the cams are. So let's do it. All right. So what we're going to do first is pull the cover off so I can have access to the rod covers, I think is what they're called, and then loosen up the adjustable rods so I can later deal with this lower end half deal. What else do I need?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. You need some help? Let's get it done. Because we only got about an hour left to work. And we need to get this bitch on the road
Oh, that's right.
in about T-minus 1 hour.
Okay, so we have an hour to do all this crap. So basically,
We're about to get you up.
yeah, just take the tension off of it, pull the sprockets. I have a rod that I can't take off because there's like issue there. But so we're gonna fish it out after the fact, and then we'll see what cams it actually has, and then replace the two tensions, put this thing back together, and then I'll be out of here hopefully. So if there's no more conversation, all the time lapses because I have no time to stop and do this. So let's go. Nope.
Okay.
possibility I'm not gonna finish this today, but Monday, which sucks because I'll be without a bike all weekend long. But I'm gonna show you how Trip is gonna press the cam out of the cam plate. Alright.
And then I'll get a bearing splitter and I'll pull this one off. There we go. Don't forget your circlip and put your plate back in there.
Alright. Thank you, sir. So, as anticipated, I did not finish what I was supposed to do. I just started way too late, but basically, I guess this is going to be in the same episode, so. But yeah, I originally took this apart to find out if I had 203 cams, like performance cams, and see if it had a big board kit, which is what we found out when we plugged it in. It had a mapping, it had a race tune map on there for a big board kit stage 2, so heads, pistons, and cams. So, and all that because I was trying to change the brake switch because it went out on me. So I was going to change that, and I was like, oh, might as well check. And then when I did, let me show you the cams. So this is the front, the primary one. Doesn't look too bad, but this one does. I mean, that is cracked and about to snap. So this one had to go, and since I'm going to take it apart, we'll might as well do all of them. So or both, really. So ran out of time, so I didn't get, you can see the rest of it, but I showed you earlier, had to use a press to pop the bearing out for one of the cams and then put another bearing in, and so there's a lot of work that goes into even just swapping cams, cam shoot tensioners, all that stuff. It takes a lot of work, so therefore that's why dealerships charge what they do. But I put it all together. Cam is in there. One of the things I didn't show you as well is when you put the oil pump back in, you're like bolting it back to the plate as the plate is already in there. You have to use these tapered screws to kind of align that oil pump. That way it's center with the flywheel. That way nothing gets destroyed in the process. So, and then you put the bolts back in and whatnot. So, oh man. Now I'm about to put the second set of rods where I did the rear cylinder. So basically how this goes is these are adjustable rods, and show you the other one, see if you can see this. So I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but one has a wider band at the top than the other. So the wide band is for the exhaust, and the thinner band is for the intake. So we're gonna put the intake first, since it's the one in the back, and again adjust it until, not till they're snug, but till where they can like roll freely but not up and down, if that makes any sense. And then we'll do the other rod as well, and once you do the second rod, then you going back, once you put this in, then you make a marking, then 2.5 turns to where it's like tight, and then you do the front one, do the exact same, and then let it sit for about 15 to 30 minutes, and then come back and make sure that you can actually like roll the rods, and if they can, and you're good to go. So then just pump the tubes back into place, and then put this on top center I think it is, I forget what it's called, basically till the lifters drop all the way down, and then put the rods in. So time-lapse time. Oh, so all the rods are in. I checked them, they still move around, so that's good. Trip just got his toolbox in, son.
That's sexy as Trip.
Anywho, I'm gonna move the rod so you can kind of give an idea of what I'm talking about when I say like move around. So they can move, like you can twist them, but they won't go up and down. So that's like perfect. So snap the rest of it in, and I think that's it. I'll have to ask Trip and change this brake switch that's gone wrong. So let's do it. Here we are, per usual. The store is closing, it's closing in 10 minutes, and it actually finished. So, thanks to that guy over there. I could have finished otherwise. So,
You'd have finished.
Eventually.
Maybe not today.
Yeah, not today. It would have been today for sure. So yeah, so that was what my conclusions are is if your bike has over 30,000 miles, check the cam shoes, because if I would have ridden that bike a little bit longer, I mean, I showed you those cam shoes earlier, and that one in the rear would have caused catastrophic failure on that motor. So for someone that's broke like me, that's definitely not something that you want. So yeah, and I don't have ESP, which you should get a ESP. It's cheap. It costs money at first, but when something like this happens, it's cheap. So well, that's all I got for you guys today. Subscribe, comment below, give me that thumbs up if you like the video. Let me know what you want to see, and catch you in the next one.